Welcome students to another in our ability test preparation session. Today we will be looking at a series of questions to help you in your examination preparation. But before we get into the questions, let us remind you of a few things. The ability test calls for reasoning skills, and so you must ensure that with any question that is given, you use the information in the question to answer. Also, make sure that you correctly interpret the question. Now, in many cases, you may be given different answer options, and so look carefully at these options to determine the most suitable answer. And in all cases, your answer must be chosen based on the evidence provided in the question. Make sure, therefore, that you analyze and interpret the information given. Now, the ability test has different categories. We have categories under verbal and quantitative reasoning. For quantitative reasoning, you may be asked to identify a series of patterns, compare quantities, analyze data, and solve problems. In the verbal reasoning categories, you may be asked to classify objects based on their similarities, look for sequencing, and also to make logical deductions. So let's get to it. This is our first question. Now we're given 4 options and we're asked to determine which does not belong in the group. How will we tackle this question? Let us read the question. Which of the following does not belong in this group? We're given corn, kidney beans, lentils, and peanut. How would you approach this question? What should we be looking for? Let us see. The first thing we need to determine is what is similar or what is different about these options. So let's check it out. What is similar about corn, kidney beans, lentils, and the peanut? Of course, they're all foods. Now, is there anything that you can identify that will cause one of those options to be different? Kidney beans, lentils, and peanut, we know, can be classified as under the grouping of peas or beans and legumes, right? Good. What about corn? Can corn be placed in that group? Okay. Then therefore it means that corn does not belong to that group. Okay, that was easy, right? Let's try something more. Now, in this question, this is a question that calls for you to make deductions. We're given a key and we're asked to use that key to identify this penguin that is shown. So let us look at the information that is given. We're asked a number of questions. Does the penguin have tufts or feathers on its head? Is it shorter than 50 centimeters? Does it have white markings on its face? Is it taller than 70 centimeters? So let us look at a bit closer at this penguin. Let us look at what is shown here. What characteristics can be identified from the diagram? Are you looking closely? Well, at first we see that the height of this penguin seems to be about 45 centimeters. So we must remember this information. What else can you see? Well, on its face, it has a white marking. So let us go back to the key to see if we can identify which group this penguin belongs to. All right, let's look again. Now that we have identified the characteristics, we're going to look to see how to identify this penguin. So let's go back. Does it have tufts or feathers? If the answer is yes, notice that we would follow the arrow to go in that direction. If the answer is no, then we would go in the other direction. So did it have tufts or feathers on its head? No. So it means, therefore, that we follow the arrow that says no. And then our next question says, does it have white markings on its face? Did we see white markings? Yes. So we follow the arrow that says yes. And then we're told, based on the diagram, that this penguin is 45 centimeters. So the question, is it taller than 70 centimeters? Our answer would be no. Therefore, which penguin is it? What type of penguin is it? Let us see your answer. Is it yellow-eyed penguin? Was it a rockhopper penguin? What about the Galapagos penguin or the Adelie penguin? Based on the diagram, the answer would definitely be C. All right, let's try another question. This one should be easier. We're told that a seed box had 12 tomato seeds planted. Some of these plants did not germinate. Now, if 9 plants germinated, the question we're asked is, what percentage of the plants did not germinate? So make sure that we're identifying that it's asking us for what did not germinate. We have different answers given. How would you approach this question? Now, obviously, if we had 12 seeds starting with and 9 germinated, we can do some subtraction, yes. And so we can identify that 3 of those plants did not germinate. But notice, our answer is given in percentages. And so we must convert 3 out of 12 to a percent, right? What answer did you come up with? Right, 3 out of 12 is a quarter, and a quarter as a percentage is 25%. All right, let's continue. Let's look at another question. Now, the question given shows a diagram of a handrail that is used for a walkway at a school that is located 400 meters from the beach. Now, this is the information given. The horizontal bars each measure 2 meters, and the vertical bars each measure 90 centimeters. And the handrail is designed with 5 decorative stars. So we can look at that diagram and note that the horizontal bars, right, is going across, and that measures 2 meters. And the vertical bars, right, is going from top to bottom, and that measures 90 centimeters. And we can count the number of stars, and that would be 5. Now, the question that is asked is, if a student wants to use the same design to cover 6 meters, right, how many decorative stars would be needed? Remember, the bar had a total length of 2 meters. So what would you need to get 6 meters? You would need 3 times that length, right? And if at 2 meters we use 5 decorative stars, for 3 times that length, how many decorative stars would we need? Let's check our answer. Exactly, you should get 15 stars. Simply 5 multiplied by 3. Now, let's look at another question using the same handrail. Now, in this question, we're told that we're asked, what is the total length of horizontal bars that's needed to make the 6-meter handrail? Sounds sort of fishy, right? Because we're told that the handrail is 6 meters. But notice it says what's the total length of horizontal bars. And if you look carefully at the diagram, what do you see? Let me see if you're paying attention. You will notice that there's a horizontal bar at the very top, and there is another horizontal bar at the bottom. And so they're asking us for the total length of horizontal bars. What do you think the answer would be? Let's check. Yes, the total length should now be 12 meters. And so remember, when you're given a question, you must make sure you look at all the information that is given. Let's try another question. A student is investigating the strength of different types of papers, and they're doing this by hanging different masses on the paper until it tears, and you can see that in the diagram. Now they're given, they're showing their results on a graph, and based on the graph, we can determine which paper is strongest. So let's examine the graph a bit closer. Now, when given a graph, right, we should try to see what information we can get from the graph. So on the y-axis, we're given the different masses that are hanged on these different papers. And on the x-axis, that's the one going across, we're shown the different papers. Now, based on that, which paper do you think would be the strongest? Would it be the one that held the most masses or the least masses? Right. The strongest paper should have the most hanging masses. And so, based on that diagram, we have newspaper, tissue paper, printer paper, and writing paper. So the writing paper had 4 masses, and hence the writing paper is the strongest. Very good. So that's all we have time for today. We wish you good luck on your examination.